Today here with me is Isabel Brouwer. She's the director of DutchBasecamp. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, DutchBasecamp, it sounds like the Dutch have set up a base camp somewhere. Is that correct?
So we did, yeah. That's actually how we started. I don't know if you know that, but when we were founded in 2013, it was geared towards international growth of Dutch startups towards Silicon Valley and New York and Boston. So we set up base camps there to actually to help the Dutch startups arriving there. So yeah, hence the name DutchBasecamp.
Hence the name. So, since then you sort of pivoted?
We completely pivoted, yeah. Well, what happened is that we found out that the preparation for internationalization wasn't done right in the Netherlands. People weren't learning from each other how to do it. So when you have a really warm network, you only want to introduce fully prepared people to them, right? Because you don't want them to be opening doors for people who don't actually know what they're doing there. And what we found is that there were too little actually completely ready who made a very rational choice of going to some place where they really thought, did a lot of market research, etc. So we decided we need to pivot and focus on preparation for internationalization a lot more. And now we started again on growing the international network, which is a lot of fun.
So yeah, you had to take a step back basically. Mm-hmm. So how are you now helping startup founders, scale-up founders becoming an international success? What kind of steps do you need to take?
So we start with preparing them by offering masterclasses. Masterclasses where we offer very hands-on tools to decide which market would be a good fit based on their current product market fit. And then we offer coaching. There's more than 20 very experienced founders who joined DutchBasecamp to help other founders going for the first time or maybe the second time after they failed once, going international. And then we take them on missions as well. We call them bootcamps to validate all the ideas they get during the strategizing, basically. And then finally, we help them with making a lean landing by offering that network abroad. A lean landing.
Lean landing, is that the phrase? So what does that mean? You just have a small satellite office and you start spreading it from there? Is that how you should see it?
We're a network organization, so when we're abroad, we meet people that we think that, hey, they could give some really insightful advice to other startups coming there. Mm-hmm. And we ask them, are you willing to help these other startups coming in? And they always say yes, but we need like a kind of a bullshit filter. I say, well, we're your bullshit filter. We'll make sure they come like asking you the right questions if you're willing to help. So it's network organization in that sense. Abroad.
So it's always funny. I speak to a lot of startups. We speak to a lot of startups. And when you hear about the failures, they always make the same kind of mistakes.
Absolutely.
So what are the most common mistakes?
Yeah, well, this is what sparked our pivot, basically. When we started, or when we were in front of the pivot, we started talking to a lot of founders, super successful one, but especially all those who miserably failed. And they were all making the same mistake, scaling too soon. That's a really common mistake. Scaling before you have actual product market fit. Scaling because you can't find your product market fit here, which means you should be altering your product, not trying to find a different market to fit it. There are exceptions, of course. So those are really common mistakes we see happening. Yeah, not enough money. Like if you don't have €1 million to just burn, you should really not go to the United States.
Yeah. Is that at least the amount of money you need?
Well, in most, I would say yes. In most verticals, you need that amount of money. I mean, if you hire or more, yeah. If you hire a lawyer, it's just a different.
How much does a lawyer cost then in Silicon Valley?
A good one?
No.
$500 an hour.
Hourly rate? Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. I would work as a lawyer there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, and these kind of mistakes, I mean, this is something you can just write down in a paper or write a book about and hand to them and then they're fine, right?
I'd hope so, yeah. No, I want to write a book about it. Now, what we try to do is bring founders together in networks and also in our masterclass and coaching, it's done by other founders, right? It's me telling, I had a tech startup when I was young, but it's also the super experienced founders sharing that knowledge. So we bring them together in the networks to talk about, hey, how are you doing? You already landed successfully in New York. I'm going there now for the first time. How did you go about it? What kind of service do you need? I mean, you have a network here back home or wherever you are. You have a network and you know who am I going to call when I need to know something? But now you're going to a new city. Who are you going to call? You don't know. So you're going to need people you trust, to find people you can trust, to help you make sense of everything that's around there.
Is that also a bit...
build that infrastructure.
To build that... So Isn't it also that most founders are really stubborn? That they sort of think, okay, yeah, but we're different, you know? Maybe they all fail, but I'm different, I'm gonna handle this. How do you
Absolutely, and that's a really good characteristic as well. I mean, if you listen to all the advice you're going to get, you're never going to get anywhere, right? So you need to be stubborn, but you also need to stay very open-minded. I think that's really important as well. And the thing is, what's typical for the entrepreneurs as well is that they see opportunities everywhere. There are opportunities everywhere, but you need to focus, and especially as a startup founder, because your budget tends to be very limited. So you need to focus on the first market or where to find that first client. You need to do that really well, right? And when you're an entrepreneur, you see like opportunities everywhere. It's really hard. So I think that's something that we try at DutchBasecamp. We try to help with as well.
But it's a big paradox. You need to be stubborn, but you need to be open-minded. I mean, how on earth are you going to do that?
Well, I think if you're get to the point where you're going to go international, you probably already found the balance in between that. I mean, you got that far, so you're going to get further as well. But it is a paradox, so it makes it interesting as well, right?
Yeah.